Here are 5 tips for INTJ college students who's not sure which career to choose. If you feel like I missed any tips, please leave a comment below so that we can all grow and learn together. Tip number 1, test everything that piques your interest. Tip number 2, don't chase money, chase your effort. Tip number 3, choose a career that you can continuously grow in. Tip number 4, choose a career that will allow you to grow outside of work. Tip number 5, don't spend too much time worrying about what career to choose because you can always change it in the future. All right, that's my video for anyone who just wanted to hear tips. The rest of my video is going to be my anecdotal story as to why I decided these tips were the most important. So stay tuned if you want to learn more. Tip number 1 is test everything that piques your interest. The reason why this is tip number 1 is because we're INTJs, we're natural skeptics. So that means we're not very down to earth when it comes down to the day-to-day of a job. We might have an idea of the job, but we don't really pay attention to the day-to-day tasks. What we focus on is the accomplishments that we might be able to produce if we're in that position. This is where job shadowing, internships, or anything that's on the job experience will really help out an INTJ. When you're on site, pay attention to the day-to-day because regardless of how high you get in your career or how many people reports under you, it's going to be a majority of your role in the beginning. It might be less or thin out later on in your career. However, it's still going to be a task that still falls underneath the umbrella of your responsibilities. A personal example that I have is being a PM, either as product, project, or program managers. Majority of their job is being in meetings and making sure people are doing something towards the goal that they've set. It's meeting based. I can't see myself being in meetings 6 to 8 hours a day. I've done that before and it freaking killed me on the inside. I'll never want to do that again. And honestly, looking at all the meetings on our calendars, it gets me so exhausted knowing that they're going to be communicating with people back to back to back without having time to decompress or without having time to work on something that they can personally develop themselves. Tip number 2 is chase your effort and not money. Money is going to come because you're going to excel in what you do, and eventually what you do, you'll enjoy doing. This is actually a tip I got from Mark Cuban. He's on the show Shark Tank. One of the worst advice that you could get is to follow your passion. Your passion is gonna change over time, and the dream job doesn't exist. Just think of it this way. Your passion one day is not gonna be the same passion that you have 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line. But if you chase your effort, something that you put a lot of work towards, something that you become so good at that it actually becomes natural and you actually enjoy doing, that will eventually lead you to the quote unquote dream job that you can eventually build yourself. There's gonna be a time in your life where you're gonna question whether what job you're doing aligns with the personal value that you have, or if you can spend the next 30 years of your life working that position until retirement. And in the beginning, you're gonna focus on status, you're gonna focus on wealth, you're gonna focus on what's normalized to be the better jobs for intelligent people, only to realize later down the line that you're being fed what the majority wants. You're an INTJ. You don't fit into that. And the beauty of being an INTJ is that you consistently work to improve yourself. And when you become an expert, that you become invaluable to the company and eventually start making money. Money will come as long as you're working towards a job that you enjoy putting effort into continuously growing in. The caveat to this tip is that it's not necessarily a dichotomy, it's a spectrum. Just because you don't like a job now doesn't mean you won't like the job later. Just because you love the job now doesn't mean you won't get tired of it in the next few years. Tip number 3, look for a position where you can continuously grow. This is very specific to INTJs. As an INTJ, and speaking from personal experience, you will get bored if you are in a position where advancement is stagnant or there's no room to grow. The thing is, there are certain types like ISTJs that love doing the same task over and over because it's predictable and they actually enjoy being able to predict what's going to happen in the position. You're an INTJ. Sometimes chaos is actually preferred outside of planning. You're not going to thrive in consistency. If it becomes consistent, it will eventually become boring, and then you will look for different ways to challenge yourself. And if it's a position where you're, let's say, a dental hygienist, where there's not really ways to challenge yourself, there's just different ways of doing the exact same task, is that something that you really want to do? I'm not saying that dental hygienist is not a respectable position, because I know a bunch of people who are in that profession and they love it. As an INTJ, I can't see myself doing the exact same thing every single day. Ask yourself, are you okay performing repetitive tasks on a daily basis for the next 50 years of your life? Tip number 4. Find a career that allows you to grow outside of work. There are many professions, especially in the US, that expects you to be on call 24/7. Being a doctor, being in the military, being a salesperson, etc. Although you might not be on call a high percentage of the time, it will ruin your rhythm and you will start hating it. And I want to be very clear then I'm not saying you won't excel in that position. INTJs can essentially excel at any career we put our mind to. What I'm going to say is that if you're an INTJ, you value a lot of growth and you value a lot of alone time, especially when it comes down to working on projects that you hold valuable to yourself that doesn't relate to work. Tip number 5, and honestly, I believe this is the most important tip out there. Don't stress over your career choice at the moment. You can always change it. I have lots of people in my life that decided to change their career in their late 20s, early 30s. Some people even changed their careers in their 40s. As a younger INTJ, you're probably worried about wasting your time. The thing is, you're not wasting your time as long as you're working towards something greater to yourself, as long as you treat every day at work as an opportunity to learn and grow. The thing that college won't teach you is that the intangibles when it comes down to working are more important than any technical skills that you can learn. If you're not working a field that specializes in a certain trade, such as being a doctor or a dental hygienist. Intangible in this instance means working with people with diverse backgrounds, delivering under tight deadlines, understanding how to prioritize different projects if multiple different projects are expected to be delivered within a certain time frame, how to internalize feedback, how to take criticism, become a better person, also how to lead a team of people that you never worked with before and you were put on it last minute. And I think the most important one is whether you're a coachable person or not. And when you're up for promotion or interviewing for a different position, again, unless it's a technical position, the intangible is what's going to make you shine outside of all the contestants or all the other people that's applying for that same role. So in conclusion to this video, I want to summarize all the tips that I have into one easy to digest TLDR segment. Test everything that piques your interest because you're not really sure whether something is enjoyable or not. Don't chase money, chase effort, because money will come. If you're an INTJ and you're determined, you will stand out, you will be the best, and you will make money. Tip number 3 is make sure you look for a position where you can continuously evolve in, such as promotion or different positions out there that is higher than where you are. You're gonna get very bored if you do the same exact thing every day. Tip number 4 is look for a position that allows you to grow outside of work. You're an INTJ, you wanna continuously improve, not just in the work field, but in every aspect of your life. And tip number 5, don't sweat it if you don't know what you want to do, because you can always change it. You're going to learn that your goals are going to change with time. The more you live life, the more you understand how things work. And what you think you wanted 10 years ago isn't what you want now. And what you want now isn't going to be what you want 10 years from now. Live life, live it to the fullest, and enjoy what you do as much as you can. All right, that's the end of my video. If you find this video helpful, leave a comment below, a like or whatever. I've been thinking about creating videos on creating resumes or interview tips because I've done a lot of that working for like Amazon as a company. I've done over 100 interviews. I know what's good, I know what's bad. I've looked at hundreds of different resumes. So if you think it will be valuable for you, just let me know and I'll make it because I want to help the INTJ community. Thanks again for watching, everyone. Bye.